Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today is the 4th of July, and I am so excited. I have always, even since a little girl, always enjoyed all the celebrations that happen on the 4th of July. Plus, it was always a great time to get with friends and family and to be around other people that were celebrating with us. I remember definitely doing fireworks when I was a child. It was one of those, that was one of my favorite things, although it scared me a lot because it was a lot of noise. I loved the 4th of July celebration. So let's talk about the 4th of July celebrations, kind of like what's coming up for us energetically. So actually the 4th of July has always been a national holiday, but it's never been necessarily a federal holiday until 1941. So it took a long time for us to figure that one out. But everybody has really celebrated in some way or another since 1776. I know. It's one of those, the Continental Congress voted in favor of independence, and then 2 days later, the delegates from the 13 colonies adopted the Declaration of Independence, and everything was signed, and so that's what gave us July 4th. So from 1776 to present day, July 4th has been celebrated as America's birthday. And independence with festivities and fireworks, like I said, parades, concerts, and barbecues. I think that's one of the fun things is kind of celebrating. Really, one of the reasons why the United States kind of did all of this way back then was to get their independence from Britain. They were being ruled and didn't feel like it was really fair that they were being ruled by someone so far away that they really didn't know what they wanted. So as a United States, we've been a country for so long, yet we're always kind of finding our new identity, which I think is a really interesting thing. So how the nation is growing, I almost think of it as a child. It was born on July 4th, 1776, but it is constantly changing and modifying and letting go of things that don't work and hopefully moving into things that work better. And if they don't work better, then we let those go and move into something new and different. So the United States is always growing and always changing. So let's talk about a couple of things. One of the things that I really love, of course, I've got my 4th of July shirt on, but one of the things is my little 4th of July flag. So let's talk about this. So as a child, I didn't understand all the coloring and what it meant. So that's something that when I homeschooled my kids way back when, I wanted them to understand that the white is for purity and for innocence, starting a new country. The red is for hardiness and valor. And that comes also, a lot of people say that that's from like the valor of our soldiers that have died and fought for our freedom. Because shortly after we did all of this in 1776, we went to war against Britain. And then the blue is for vigilance, perseverance, and justice. And I know not everybody feels the same way about the flag as I do, but it's one of those, I want you to know that it is always something that is growing and changing and modifying. And I think it's really important to celebrate it that way, as it's in a process. And so is our country. So are we. Matter of fact, we're always in a change. So let's pull a couple of angel cards and get us a little bit more information about our 4th of July. So I got a couple of cards jumping here. So nature. This is something that I think is truly in our nature, of wanting independence, or wanting to have our voices heard and have our voices understood by the other people around us. And I think that's kind of what most people don't remember from back then. I mean, of course, we were never alive back then, but it's one of those, they didn't feel heard. They didn't feel like they were respected or honored for what they did for the country. It was always just send more money back to Britain, and what does Britain have to say? And I think that was kind of like a symbolic way of kind of cutting those ties from behind and allowing us to grow into something else. Blessings. I always think that when anybody ever steps in their own power, and that's what the United States did July 4th, 1776, we stepped into our own power. And that always brings in more blessings, and more blessings for not only us, but our family and our friends and our country as well. Everybody in the United States, I think, is a really interesting melting pot. And I remember hearing that a lot when I was a kid, of being a melting pot, and I didn't quite understand it. I do hopefully understand it a little bit better than I used to. I think it's interesting that the energy of everybody coming with their different cultures and their different backgrounds coming to the United States. And it's kind of interesting that the United States have been like, we really like this, and so we're going to bring that to our country, and we're going to bring this to our country, and maybe that's not so great. And so we have picked and chosen things that we love from different cultures, even our words. Some of our words are, of course, there's no really American words, there's English, but it's one of those words come from different countries, different slang, different areas, and that's always an interesting energy as well when you start mixing that with a whole bunch of other people. Romance is the next card I pull. So I think it's interesting. Of course, there are things that have happened in the United States that not everybody is proud of, but more than anything else, I think it's important to understand that there is a lot of love for this country. There's a lot of people that love this country for everything that it stands for. And I think that's the most interesting part. And I think the people that usually kind of feel that a little bit more than anybody else are soldiers, people that fight every day for our freedom and have for generations. It's one of those, so many people have fought and died for our independence, starting, like I said, shortly after the Declaration of Independence was signed. We were in war with Britain, and every so often we are back in wars. We had World War I and the Battle of 1812. It's one of those, we've fought for our independence so many times, and that does give you a love for our country. It's kind of an interesting energy because we love some things and other things we don't like, but those are the things I think that's really important to bring into the fold, and how can we understand it, and then how can we upgrade it and fix it and change it to make it something that we do love. I think that's the best part of the United States. It is a growing, living entity, and it's something that you have to get to know, to love, and to learn how to change things that are around us that we don't love and accept. I think that's just part of life. I thank you so much for joining me today, and happy 4th of July to you and your family. I will hopefully be posting some pictures. In my neighborhood, we have a boat parade, so hopefully there'll be no rain that afternoon, and we'll get to go for a boat parade ride with our boats all decked out for the 4th of July. That's one of my favorite holidays, like I said, and I thank you so much for joining me for the United States birthday.